It seems there has been no shortage of Death Star-like technology in the Star Wars universe. If not how it operated, there were aesthetics that mirrored the giant space station. Looking at you, Trade Federation Lucre Hulk. Why am I looking at the Lucre Hulk? Well, the Trade Federation used these massive ships to strike fear into those they were subjugating. Subjugating? Is that right? Maybe occupying's a better word. Or assimilating. Oh well. The point is, the Confederation of Independent Systems, or Separatists, designed the Death Star's appearance. The center of the Lucre Hulk looks similar to the Death Star. But this isn't about the Lucre Hulk at all. I'm sorry for disappointing you. This is about how the Empire showed a precedence for making weaponry without having the actual technology to do so. You're asking yourself, other than the first Death Star, what was there? Well, there was at least one more, and I'll get to that in just a bit. So stick around. Hello everyone, I'm Gerald and I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and you can be a Star Wars fanatic too. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, and when you do, you enter yourself in for a chance to win this Winter Soldier by Sideshow Collectibles. When I hit 25,000 subscribers, I will select one person's name at random as a subscriber and send it off to you. So the quicker we hit that 25,000 subscriber mark, the quicker you could win. With all that said, let's move on with today's topic. It's rare that I talk about technological aspects of the Star Wars galaxy. Why? Mostly because there are other channels that cover that, but I have not seen either channel cover this one. Yes, the Death Star. And this isn't so much about the technology surrounding the Death Star and its inner workings, but rather the lack thereof, and the lack of technology surrounding another Imperial era project. And I will get to that project in a little bit. So stick around for the full video and you'll be scratching your head saying, why wouldn't this be the case? Yeah, I'm going to build the suspense until then, but for now, back to the Death Star. If you've seen the films Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, hell, let's throw Star Wars Rebels in there as well, then you'd know that the Geonosians were part of the architectural design for the first Death Star. But if you've seen Rogue One, you'd understand that the battle station was built before they had the technology to actually make it destructive. I mean, who does that? This wasn't just a prototype, it was to be the final product. Yet they began building it decades before they know how to get it to work. Once Galen Erso got it to work though, this massive station would destroy 2 cities and an entire planet before ultimately being destroyed itself. Even though the first Death Star had limited success, the Empire and the First Order, respectively, decided to keep trying. Well, it wasn't big enough the first time. What if we double its size with each iteration? That would make it better, right? The second Death Star was larger than the first. Then Starkiller Base was nearly 5 times the size of the second Death Star. As far as their power, the Death Stars were quicker to maneuver and recharge. They could only destroy 1 planet at a time though, but they could also recharge quicker. Starkiller Base could destroy entire planetary systems in 1 shot. However, it would have to find a star to recharge. An entire star. It took an entire star to power that beast. But this video isn't about the power of each superweapon. It was just a fun little side journey that I did. This is about the Empire being one of determination and impatience. Impatience for creating weapons before they have the technology to use it. Who builds a car without knowing how to get it to drive? Who creates a gun before the gunpowder to load it with? No one that I know of, but the Empire made it work, and they may have made it work on more than one occasion. In our world, when we get a hold of technology that we don't understand, we take it apart to see if we can figure out how it works. That's called reverse engineering. Most of the time, it's a useful way to figure out what we hold in our hands. I used to fix broken home phones by taking them apart and testing the components. I had no training, but 90% of the time I could get a broken telephone working again. That was me, reverse engineering. Then cell phones came out and I gave up that practice. Not as easy to take apart. Vacuum sealed parts made it seem stupid to try. But I digress. I took old landlines apart and fixed them without training by reverse engineering them. You get the concept. The Death Star was a bit different. There wasn't a prototype to go off of to figure out the technology of getting the focus laser to destroy planets. If the Separatists had that, they would have surely won the war. Or maybe not. As mildly effective as the Malevolence was, it was ultimately destroyed. But let's get back out of the Clone Wars era for just a moment. Back to the era of the Galactic Civil War. Okay, there was one race of humans, or group if you prefer, that could have been a threat to the Empire, and most notably were. A group whose entire existence had been based on and surrounded by war. With warriors so tough, Jedi and Sith could hardly beat them in a one-on-one situation. One of them even defeated 6 Jedi on his own with his bare hands, let alone a legion of stormtroopers. These people are called Mandalorians, of course. During the time of the Imperial reign, Mandalore was divided into yet another civil war. The Imperial Loyalists, led by Clan Saxon, and the Dissenters, led by Clans Wren and Kreese. Yes, Bo-Katan Kryze was a part of that. Before the Civil War started, a young Mandalorian joined the Imperial Academy and was given a task, a challenge. The challenge was to develop a weapon that would target the Beskar alloy in Mandalorian armor and render it useless. In a nutshell, destroy it and the wearer inside it. When the Imperial cadet, young Sabine Wren, discovered that the Empire tested the weapon and planned to use it on a grand scale, she destroyed the prototype and the blueprints for the weapon known as the Duchess. Named so after Duchess Satine Kryze, Bo-Katan Kryze's sister and ruler of Mandalore during the Clone Wars. But the weapon wasn't quite destroyed. The Empire revived it and built it again. The weapon had limited range under the Imperial ownership, but it was still effective against Beskar at shorter ranges. With the prototype and the plans destroyed, how did the Empire revive the weapon? That's a question that has yet to be answered. But what if it was reverse engineered in private, in secret labs? During the Star Wars Rebels arc, Heroes of Mandalore, the Mandalorians discover the weapon is being held aboard a Star Destroyer, as well as the plans for it. It's been held there because the intent is to capture Sabine Wren and get her to finish the project, rebuild it, in order to increase the weapon's effectiveness. But the fact that the weapon even exists, even after Sabine destroyed the original, means the Empire has figured most of it out. Another weapon created by the Empire without having the technology to make it fully operational. In the end, Sabine destroys the Duchess one more time and wipes the database of the plans to make any more. But what do we know about the Empire and how they store plans? Well, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, gives us a clue. The Empire guards its schematics and blueprints on a planet called Scarif, an Imperial fortress with a central storage tower with hard copies of all their technology stored in data boxes. At the time of Star Wars Rebels, Scarif is still around, hasn't been destroyed yet. The Death Star is in its final stages of completion, and plans for Imperial projects still rest guarded in the Scarif Tower. Okay, with knowing all this security the Empire goes through to hide their plans and guard them, would the Empire have put the only plans to the Duchess on a vulnerable Star Destroyer? Or would the Star Destroyer merely have enough data from the plans to continue the project? We know Galen Erso had plans to the Death Star when he was developing the focus laser weapon, and the master copy sat in the Tower of Scarif. Why am I asking this? Simple. The Empire recreated the Duchess. We know that Moff Gideon is highly involved with covert operations within the Empire, even after the perceived fall of the Empire, the Dark Trooper project, and the cloning facility on Nevarro. All Moff Gideon projects. He was also the leader of the Purge of Mandalore, a cause that was taken on by Gar Saxon, a Mandalorian, but Gar Saxon failed. If Gar Saxon, a Mandalorian, failed, why would a mere Imperial have tried to subdue the Mandalorian culture with less destructive weaponry than what Gar Saxon had? He wouldn't have. It had been tried and failed. The Mandalorians during the time of the Mandalorian series are few and scattered. Mere Imperial might wasn't enough to do this to them. The Emperor tried before and had failed. Let's also consider that the Dark Trooper project also seemed to be more of a defense when we see it. A private force for Moff Gideon. Could he have used them during the Purge of Mandalore? Yes, it's possible, But if we take a close look at the Dark Troopers as seen in The Mandalorian, they're all shiny and new. Not even carbon scoring is present. They have not been used in battle, not a battle the scope of which would be present if attacking a warrior culture such as Mandalore. Now, I could be wrong on this, and if so, I'm prepared for that, and I'm fine with it. I'm not going to be upset if this doesn't happen. But this is what could have happened at the Purge of Mandalore. It was led by aerial bombardment, followed by multiple iterations of the Duchess, and lastly, followed by the cleanup crew that we see in the Book of Boba Fett, led by the security droids. With the Duchess from Rebels destroyed, the Empire would be on their own to reverse engineer what was remaining. The plans they had were never fully completed, or the one we saw in Rebels would have been at full operational status, but it wasn't. So it isn't beyond the realm of possibility that the Empire built yet another weapon they didn't have the technology to complete. Never seen them do that before, have we? Oh wait, yeah, they did with the Death Star. The new Duchess is unable to destroy the actual Beskar, but it's able to disintegrate the wearer of the precious armor inside it. Hence the reason we see the pile of Beskar armor in the Mandalorian covert on Navarro after the covert was attacked. And I've said it isn't beyond the Empire to play around with weaponry they don't know how to make fully operational. Clumsily though, they figure it out. And I know you're all shouting I'm wrong. They didn't rebuild the Duchess because they don't have the plans for it. The plans were destroyed, but let's look at it this way. Let's also not forget that a second, bigger Death Star was built in a shorter time frame than the first, even after the original Death Star plans were stolen by the Rebel Alliance and the database on Scarif was destroyed. That tells me there was more than one copy of the plans. Which means there are always backup plans somewhere to the Empire's projects. All of their projects, not just the Death Star. So, could Moff Gideon or other Imperial leaders have sanctioned a renewal of Project Duchess in order to get rid of opposition within the Mandalorian sector and elsewhere? Navarro. Yes, it's not only plausible, it's highly possible. I'm not going to say it's likely or that it did happen, but it is possible. So leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about this idea. Is it possible to you? Is it even plausible to you? I've got a lot of comments on my last one that, nah, this couldn't have happened. But given the evidence that I just gave you, could it have happened now? I'd like to give a shout out to Kyle Ulrich for giving me the inspiration for this video. Kyle commented on my last video pertaining to the Duchess, and he had this to say. I like your theories. They always make sense, and if you're a fan and know how Star Wars usually goes through the whole storyline, it's probably safe, and they probably had another Duchess built before Sabine sabotaged the prototype. Thank you, Kyle. It really made me think about how the Empire has an idea and doesn't really figure out the entire idea before putting it into production. And they even put it into use sometimes without its full capabilities. And thank you to everyone who commented. Keep those comments coming to see if you get highlighted in the next video. And if you're new here and want to be a Star Wars fanatic, hit the subscribe button now. By doing so, you enter yourself in for a chance to win this Sideshow Collectibles Winter Soldier figure in 1/6 scale. And as I said before, that drawing will be held when I reach 25,000 subscribers. Also, slap the like button like you're Charlie Murphy retaliating against Rick James.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face? What? Slap! On.
This is Gerald from Star Wars Fanatic signing off, wishing you all great health, peace, and happiness. Until next time, thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.